So, 10,000 subscribers. That is insane. So, let's get to the comments. There's 13 comments. May not be a lot to some people, but they're quite good questions, so I can give in-depth answers. So, let's waste no time. Let's get into this. Thank you for 10,000 subscribers. It's insane. Really appreciate it. So, first question. Has a game's storyline ever made you cry? Yes. Absolutely, there is many games that have made me cry. Ghost of Tsushima, that ending, depending on which one you get, both are pretty tough to watch, but the one I chose, which I won't spoil, could be considered the bad ending, or the more honourable ending. That's all I can say on that. So that's one game. God of War, Spider-Man, Red Dead Redemption 2, every time. Well, it's not the ending, it's before the epilogue, but my god, Red Dead Redemption 2, whew, man. Emotions, so many emotions. It's ridiculous how many emotions I can muster up when it comes to Red Dead Redemption 2, but it's still not my favourite game. Just because I cried at it doesn't make it my favourite, you know, it's one of them. Last of Us as well, gotta mention Last of Us. Every time when she finishes that line off with, okay, bro, just, oh, so good, so good. Next question from El Selcho. I'm sorry, bro, I can't say your name. My question: what is your least favourite game that you still come back to every once in a while? Very good question. It depends on what kind of mood I'm in, what I've recently played and stuff like that, because there are games that I personally dislike, but I go back to for my friends, like Warzone, stuff like that. But for me personally, and my mate is going to have a good laugh about this, but The Last of Us Part 2, I really didn't like that game when I first played it. When I first saw the leaks, naturally, for many reasons, because I loved the first one so much and they went in a direction I wasn't a massive fan of. But then again, I can't deny that that game, it may not be the most innovative, or it may not be the most innovative sequel ever made, but the visuals, the amount of care that went into it, I cannot help but go back to it. It's a long game. I don't always complete it, but I got a PS5. Oh, sorry. I got a PS5. I always go back to it just because it's still one of the best looking games on the console right now, and I slowly enjoy it more and more when I finally accepted what the game is for what it is, basically, the story they went down. Am I excited for the sequel that they've more than likely got planned? Not really. I do think it should have ended with the first one. When the sequel was announced in 2016, I was hyped, but I did question, would it be what I wanted? And it may not have been what I wanted, but it's what they wanted to do with it. Neil Druckmann specifically wanted to do with it, and I'm fine with that. It's his baby, innit? He came up with it. That's fine. Wasn't for me, but I still go back to it every now and then. Plus, it's a Sony exclusive. How can you not? It's pretty damn good. But for me, really didn't like it at first. Next question from James Hassan. What is your opinion on Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal, and do you think they are as good as the originals, taking into consideration the time period in which the old and new games were made? Now, I'm going to disappoint you, James. I haven't played the original Dooms. Yes, so if you can unsubscribe, I do not blame you. I haven't played the originals. I do want to play them eventually. There's a lot of games, though, that I need to play, but I will get to them. As to my opinion on Doom, I did make a review on it, oh god, it's going to be like 6 months ago now, something like that, and I really enjoyed it. If you want a more in-depth answer to that question, go check the review out, and Doom Eternal I haven't played yet. I do want to play it. Doom Eternal is on Game Pass. I'm planning to play it. It's installed, I think, so I'm going to get to that. Bear with me. I'm trying to get through as many games as possible, especially the ones that have been requested, but it's quite difficult to, you know, my so-called list. I think there's a question about the list in this post. It's kind of all over the place at the minute. I kind of might just ditch it and just go with what I remember, because that's the best way to do it, in my opinion. But yeah, that's my opinions on that, James. I hope I don't disappoint you with that, but that's me. I'm trying my best, bro. Next question from Vanilla Sky. What game with a mostly negative reputation do you see as underrated or overhated? Also, what game is loved by many that you think is overrated? Ooh, good question. Going off the top of my head, I actually think Days Gone is very underrated. Days Gone is a Sony exclusive if you haven't played it. That's the one that's come to my head straight away, so I guess I thought that was underrated. I was quite critical of it in my review, but the more I think about it, you know, it's just a traditional open world game, but I think the way they've done the AI with the hordes of zombies, sure, they're not in the game that much, but when you get to them, it's just so worth it to go through that like the 10 hours of slog just to get to it. But when you get to it, it's so good, and I really think it's underrated because of that. Do I think it could have been better? Absolutely, absolutely, and it may not be one of my favorite games, but I definitely think it got way too much hate for what it was. But Sony exclusives, the bar is so high these days. When something doesn't meet it at the top standard, like Spider-Man, Last of Us, stuff like that, then it's gonna get more hate because everyone likes to try and drag the big guy down, you know what I mean? And unfortunately, we're not gonna get a sequel to it, according to what's been posted, but I think that was very underrated. And the games I think is overrated. Ooh. GTA 5. I'm gonna go with GTA 5 because as time has gone on, I really think that game is overrated. Genuinely, I believe that. Like, it's great for what it was in 2013, and it's still a hell of a lot more polished than most games released today. But, you know, it's just another GTA game. To me, anyway. I know that would piss a lot of people off, but that's just me. I think that's overrated. I barely play it anymore. And I do enjoy it for what it is, but the story is it's just mediocre to me. I think GTA 4 had a much better story. I think GTA 4's physics systems were much more interesting. I thought the world was more interesting as well. Sure, Los Santos is more colourful and is obviously larger, I think, from what I remember. But I just think GTA 4 felt like a more tonally consistent package. I think there was more innovation on that game than there was in GTA 5, and I think when it comes to GTA games, considering how long it takes to make them, especially with GTA 6, you've got to push the bar. You just put that pressure on yourself the longer you wait to release a sequel. So yeah, I think that's overrated. Most people probably don't, but that's me. Hi. Oh. So next question from Friendly Forest 7. Do you ever get bored or burnt out when playing video games? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. If anyone tells you they don't get burnt out, they probably don't play a lot. Personally, in my experience, everyone that plays games that I know pretty consistently, my friend Will, he's kind of ditched multiplayer games now because he's just getting tired of them. Don't blame him at all. But I think everyone gets burnt out. I do, especially now that it's become a source of income for me now. This what I'm doing now is technically a job because I'm making money from it. Yeah, the government love that. They love the taxes. But I don't make that much. But anyway, the point is, I do get bored and I do get burnt out a lot. I do need to balance my work life, my social life with this, because the amount of games I have to get through, like last year alone, I mentioned it in my previous Q&A, last year I played I think it was 70 plus games and completed them. That's a lot of games, especially some of them are really long. Like I completed Red Dead Redemption 2, God of War, Spider-Man, Days Gone. I played a lot of games, very lengthy games, so I did get burnt out quite a bit. And the best way to finish this answer is to say that I do my absolute best to avoid burnout when reviewing, because burnout will seriously affect how you view games. Because obviously we've all played that new game that we're excited for, but it came at a point where we're just tired of gaming, we need a break, we need to go out, we need to do stuff, and that could severely affect your opinion, so I try my absolute best to avoid it. But it does make making content much more difficult for me. I'm sure some of you have noticed I'm only uploading once a week recently. It's because burnout. I don't want to burn myself out too much, but I'm starting to get back into it now. I'm releasing multiple videos a week, last week anyway. So I'm really getting into it now. So hopefully more content will be coming, and hopefully burnout will leave me alone for a bit. Next question, Isaac. How many games are there on your video making wish list right now? I'm pretty sure a lot, so don't you feel overwhelmed sometimes? Absolutely. I feel overwhelmed all the time. Admittedly, as I've been making this review, I've kind of just decided to ignore that list now. I know I say it's added to the list, and it is, but there are that many games on there, it does become overwhelming, and that burnout starts to kick in, like I mentioned. That burnout can be a killer. That can be a killer for your enjoyment. So what I'm trying to do is I'm going back through the comments of each of my videos, which is a lot of videos, and I'm trying to find which games have been requested the most and which ones would be best for the channel at this moment in time. I'm going to play Prey this week, and I'm going to do my best to complete that because it's free on the Epic Game Store. I want to get my review out so a lot of people that are maybe, it's not worth downloading, I can see if it is any good and if people should play it, and that way they get the game for free, because it's all about you guys. This whole channel was based around making reviews that would suit you guys, what would be the most beneficial for you, which is why I think the channel's been quite successful. So that's kind of my answer. The list, unfortunately, is going to the wayside, I think, because I just can't keep up with it, and it's just, every time I wake up, I turn on my PC, I just want to relax, and I see that notepad list, and you're just like, no thanks, I'm not looking at that today, you know what I mean? So, hopefully that answers, hopefully it doesn't disappoint you. I will get to your recommendations. If I miss one, I'll go back through the comments, and I'll do my best to get them done for you. Next comment is from Jason. Before you made any game reviews, were there some fear that your opinion would receive backlash, or do you just not give a damn? So, when I first started classic game reviews, that fear wasn't really a thing. It just wasn't. I just wanted to make reviews for the sake of myself and see where it goes. And it's come here, obviously. But originally I started making spoiler reviews, and they were going to be more in the style of retrospectives. So, it was just my opinion the way I looked at it. If someone disagreed, that's fine. That's another comment down below. I'd love to chat to them about it. As the channel went on, I realized maybe people don't want to hear spoilers. You know, I'm reviewing older games. Most people that are going to watch a review of an older game probably haven't played it. So that was my perspective on that. So the opinion thing is not really there. I just do it. I just don't give a damn, I guess. I do give a damn about the content. Obviously, I do care about that. But as long as it's good for you guys, I don't care. If my opinion is somehow the odd one out, I don't care. That's why I always say, don't rely on just my review. Check out other reviews other than mine before you make a purchase. That's what I say, because at the end of the day, I'm just a guy. I'm sat in my room right now. My bed ain't even made. I'm sorry about that. I'm just a guy just trying to enjoy myself. You know what I mean? That's just my opinion. Everyone has different favorite games. Everyone has different genres they prefer. You've just got to find the YouTuber that you think represents your gaming habits, I guess. At least that's what I do. I love video game Donkey. Donkey is hilarious. I play a lot of games just for the damn of it, you know what I mean? Donkey is great for that. I love Donkey. Please tell me you guys watch Donkey. Please watch video game Donkey. It's hilarious. Next question from Will Elliott. 2 in 1 here. What was your favorite video to make, and what was your least favorite? So, that's a good question. My favorite videos to make were probably when I started getting a bit more advanced with it. I mean, I got this blue Yeti right here. That was for the Halo review, I think. Halo Infinite review, my original one. And I really enjoyed making that because it's a new mic. I really liked it. And I've got my ring light here. I'll get a ring light when I bought the face cam too. Those would tended to be my favorites because it added something new to the editing process. But my favorite video, without a doubt, is Ghost of Tsushima. That review I made, it's got to be a year ago now. Yeah, a year ago. Because I love the editing in that, though. I had the little intro with a couple of lines of the game, and then I had a little montage of it. I really got a little bit more, I experimented a little bit more with that. So, to answer your question the best I can, my favorite videos tend to be the ones where I get to spice it up with the camera, new mic, new lighting, stuff like that. That's kind of the general answer. But Ghost of Tsushima, that's definitely my favorite video. I do want to make another review of that, to be honest, because my opinion has changed with the PS5 and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's one. And my least favorite, probably my Call of Duty Black Ops review. That was one of the first couple reviews I made, and it's very bad. I've considered removing it from the channel, but what's the point? What's the point of hiding your past? Show everyone where you've come from. I think that's the best way to do it. And I'm not very proud of that video. I may remake it, but most people they're not interested in a Black Ops review. If you're going to watch a Call of Duty review, it's got to be the newest one. Or Modern Warfare because of Warzone, but Warzone 2 is on the way. So, hopefully that sort of answers your question. Best I can really do. Next question from Headshot Gamer. Congrats, man. My questions: 1, why did you start YouTube? And 2, your favorite game? So, I answered them in the 8,000 subscriber Q&A, but I think I can give you a more in-depth answer here because I've got more time. I started YouTube way back in like 2016, something like that, with a different channel, just kind of testing the ropes, you know what I mean? Trying to figure out what I enjoy. And I did that for about four years, something like that, constantly changing channels, changing content type, and nothing really worked for me. Plus I was 16 years old. Most 16-year-olds are not going to have much success on YouTube because we're all very naive, you know what I mean? We're very naive. We don't really know what we like to do. We don't know what we want to make. we don't know how to make it, we don't have the skill set, stuff like that. So I learned that over time, and then I quit. I did quit for about 6 months because I just gave up on it. I had a lot of issues at the time, financial, because I crashed my car. I crashed my car, and I had to sell my PC, my PS4, stuff like that, just to pay for things I needed to pay for. And then about 6 months later, I was on universal credit because I had no job because of COVID, which was great, wonderful stuff. And I ended up spending £200 on a PC, just a basic PC. There was a GTX 970 in there, I think, and an i7 4790K, and it was a really good deal, to be fair. And then I just said, you know what, I've got this PC now. I'm not going to just sit here doing nothing and playing games. I want to do something productive with it. And then I started Classic Game Reviews. I was just lying in bed, and I just thought, why not? Who else is making reviews on really old games? Not many people, unless they're retrospectives like Ray Civic or White Light. And then I just got on with it. I thought, Classic Game Reviews, let's go. Let's try it. Let's see what happens again. So the point is, no matter how many times you fail, just keep pushing. Just keep pushing forward, no matter what it is. If you're in the gym, you don't get in those gains, keep going. If you're acting and you don't get any roles, keep going. You're at your job, you're not getting a promotion, keep going. Just adapt to it and just keep going. That's my recommendation. That's why I started YouTube, really. So I think that's the best answer I can give you. And 2, your favorite game. I answered this as well. It always varies. There's usually my top 3, but right now, Ghost of Tsushima. It still is my favorite game. It tends to flip-flop from Last of Us to Ghost of Tsushima, and then to some other games that I won't mention. It does depend on the mood I'm in when you ask me that, but still Ghost of Tsushima. Thank you. And finally, from Banda. Good evening. The first question: what do you think about the games that were made to include agendas such as homosexuality and feminism, like The Last of Us Part 2? And do you think the world of games will turn from simple fun in the first place to including media and political goals that have nothing to do with games? Second question, I'll get through that as well. What do you think about Microsoft's approach to services and subscriptions policy, and the policy always connecting to the internet? Thanks for the opportunity and congratulations for 10k to the top. Thank you, Banda, appreciate that. So your second question, that'll be the easiest one to answer. The approach to the services and subscriptions, I think it's okay. It's definitely the best deal in gaming right now, Game Pass specifically, but you've always got to consider that one day Microsoft may go out of business, one day Steam, Sony, etc. might go out of business, and you are renting these games. You think you're buying them, you're not. You're not. They've got DRM in there, so you are not buying these games, you're renting them at best. So if those services go down, you lose all your games, all your libraries. There are ways to avoid it, I'm pretty sure, but naturally these companies, they don't care. As long as they've got your money, they do not care. So I think it's good, but there's a lot of room for improvement, especially from a consumer standpoint. And your first question is very difficult. I'm glad I left it till last. I don't necessarily think there are agendas being pushed. It's a tough one for me because I kind of fell into that crowd where everything seemed like there was an agenda, there was so much politics going on with gaming, microtransactions, stuff like that. I don't necessarily think there are agendas being pushed, it's just people wanting to put their perspective onto things, like Neil Druckmann. Do I think the push for Abby was a bit unnecessary to have 2 women, etc.? I don't really care, to be perfectly honest with you. They're characters at the end of the day. Are they well-written characters? That's up for you to decide, in my opinion. But I don't necessarily think there are agendas. Battlefield 5 is the one time I'd say they really tried to push hard for it, mainly because I give a shit about history. I care about history. It's important to keep it real, not to make it up. Obviously, the history is decided by the victor, obviously. But it's important to keep that truthful in some sense. The way they did it with Battlefield 5 was pretty insulting, to change the story of actual soldiers being changing it into this weird daughter saves mother situation, and then saying they'd take credit for it, and then at the credit saying, oh, this actually happened with these. So don't do that. That's my point. But homosexuality and feminism, I don't care. You know, it's one of them. I guess I'm from a different generation or something. I just don't care if the character happens to be gay, that's fine. If a character happens to be a feminist, that's fine, you know, that's what's been written for him. I will say, the one thing I dislike heavily is when those characters, that's all they are. They're the gay character, you know what I mean? They're the crazy woman character. If you're gonna write these characters, at least respect them enough to give them actual character, other than I'm the gay guy or the gay woman, etc., etc. That is what I don't like, and I do call that out most of the time. But hopefully that answers it without offending too many people. But that's just me. I just don't care about it. I don't know if you do, Banda, and that's perfectly fine. I get it in some sense, but obviously I'm not gonna hate a game because a character's gay. You know what I mean? It's just not me. I can't do that. And for the last bit of that question, and do you think the world of games will turn from simple fun in the first place to including media and political goals that have nothing to do with games? Gaming has become massive. It's bigger than music and film combined, I'm pretty sure, including sports. Maybe not sports, I'm not too sure about that, but it's massive. And I have absolutely no doubt that media is trying their absolute best to benefit from it. Like, there was something from Fox News yesterday or something about saying video games are causing shooters to be even worse or something like that, like actual real life shooters, and it's just bullshit. It's just bullshit. So that I actually agree with you on. I do think there are media entities trying to get involved, trying to abuse it, trying to make people believe gaming is some evil thing so they don't lose their audience, because, well, it's gaming. It's bigger than everyone at this point. And political goals, it depends on the company. It does depend on the company. I don't think, obviously, homosexuality and feminism, that stuff, I really don't care about that. But when it comes to political goals, trying to make characters into specific archetypes like Donald Trump and stuff like that, making them a certain group in World War II, making them look like that in modern day, stuff like that with specific political leanings, it's all very complicated, all kind of ridiculous in my opinion. And if it is the case, then people don't have to play that game, you know what I mean? If it's in a franchise that is already established, I understand people not liking it, but at the end of the day, if you don't like it, just don't buy it. It's cringy to say, because obviously EA's CEO Andrew Wilson said that, and no one bought his game, and he got really pissed off about it. But at the end of the day, that's all we can do as consumers. We've got to vote for our wallet, with our wallet. That's all we can do. I'm a reviewer, so I guess if I do grow any bigger, if this is successful even more, my opinion will count more and more. But at the end of the day, if I don't buy the game, that's what hurts them the most. They don't care about their reputation at that point. If they're so clearly pushing political stuff in their games, then, you know, they've took the risk and they need to accept the consequences or the benefits of taking that risk. You know what I mean? But yeah, I definitely think it's going to turn away from simple fun. You can see that with microtransactions, everything's about profit, and if politics gets involved even more, then yeah, it's very possible. But that's the best I can answer that question, Banda. Thank you everyone for the questions, really appreciate it. Thank you all for the support. This video is very long, surprisingly. But yeah, thank you all. I can't say that enough. Assassin's Creed review in a couple days. Thank you. Goodbye.